Hey everyone, I'm Leilani.
I'm Yen.
I'm Alistair.
And I'm Natalie.
And
we're
For
the
Queers. We're a group of liberal studies majors focusing on breaking the taboo of bringing up LGBTQ topics in elementary school classrooms.
So in this podcast, we are going to be going over a couple different points. We're going to be talking about, of course, the problem, some of the solutions that we have come up with, and some reactions to these solutions that you might find yourself experiencing. We're also going to go over some of our personal experiences and some of the research that we have done in our classroom.
So the major problem in education today is the lack of LGBTQ visibility and inclusion, especially in elementary schools. Teachers avoid discussing LGBTQ topics due to fear, discomfort, and or lack of training, which these topics kind of avoid a lot of like these students, and they harm them with messages telling queer identities that they're unimportant or inappropriate, which leaves these children feel unseen and unsafe in schools.
So let's really just kind of break that down and get into some of the solutions that we can do and deal with this.
I feel like one of the main solutions that we've discussed is a way to bring books, specifically picture books, into elementary schools as an appropriate way to talk about identity and sexuality in a way that applies to elementary kids more than a more serious discussion that can apply to them.
Yeah, for sure. There's books what is it called? Riley's. Oh, there's What Riley Wore. That's a great one that just
No,
talks
what was that
about
one that we read in class? It was was it called Princess?
Princess
Boy.
Princess Boy. That one was.
Yeah.
I thought that one was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there was also the My Shadow's Pink one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, or My Shadow's Purple. Those are a lot of good examples of children's books where they talk about identity and self-expression in ways that don't directly say that we're talking about gender and sexuality, but more just ways that we're talking about ways of expressing yourself and exploring who you are and how not everyone has to be the same.
Yeah, I agree, because the books, I like the book that we read, a Princess Boy. I don't know. That was the title, right? Princess Boy.
Princess Boy, yeah.
Yeah, that one was really good because I thought it followed this boy wearing it was dresses and he was dancing and stuff like that, but it didn't specifically talk about gender and stuff like that, but it more was just his identity. That's who he was and who he wanted to be.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't in a way for I feel like the kids would be able to just understand and comprehend that.
Another good reason is we all have books that we've read, during our little ages in elementary school, and we kind of grow up with that book. Everybody remembers it, and it's
Everybody poops.
Yeah, it's it's pretty nostalgic, and they go back and they say, "Yeah, I've read that book," and it kind of just brings out a memory in them, and it kind of just gives them that oomph that everybody's the same, everyone's equal.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think another way that our teacher actually did for us that I think would be a great way to introduce different identities to your classroom is assigning corners to different connections to identity. And they don't even necessarily have to be talking about queer identities, but it could be something as simple as, I have blue eyes, my favorite color is pink, and have the kids split up the classroom in these groups and see just how everyone fits into different groups, no matter maybe in the last round they were in your group, the next round they could be on the opposite side of the room. And not everyone fits into the same groups, even if you fit into one or two of the same groups, and that's okay.
Yeah, no, for sure. And also I feel like discussing this with the kids early on is going to prevent a lot of problems later, because they'll know, they'll grow up knowing that they can have their own identity, and they can wear whatever they want to wear, kind of, without having to be, self-conscious about that later, because I feel like that's where a lot of problems come in, later in life, when there was just, a taboo topic from a young age.
Yeah, especially, bringing up these topics, it creates, a warm community where students all feel welcomed and safe and valued just to be themselves.
Yeah.
For sure. Do we want to talk about some of the reactions that may come out of this? For example, parents or children's backlash to teaching children about identity and self-expression.
Yeah. 'Cause I know I was reading an article and it was saying how the a teacher like was talking to one of the students' parents, and the parents were like, I don't think you should be teaching that. Like, that's not in your
Curricular.
it's not in your curriculum. You shouldn't be teaching them this.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like the fact, it's like,
It's the fact that we need to teach these kids
Yeah.
to be nice to
There
each
we
other.
go.
It's not really just like, oh, well, that's not something to teach. Identity, all this, blah, blah, blah. Like, no, it really should be taught, because let's say, like, another student identifies a different way than all the rest. Why should they feel secluded? Why should they feel alone? Why should they feel like, they should feel bad for being themselves? Like, that's not okay.
Mm-hmm.
100%, I agree.
I feel like
Yeah.
it's all rooted in elementary school too, because that's like, those are like your learning blocks. Like once
Yeah.
you like learn, I feel like once kids like start to learn the like being like inclusive and everything, and like being comfortable in their own skin, like they'll take that on later in life. You know what? Like,
Yeah.
For sure. Because, like, when you're in kindergarten, you learn how to read, so
Mhm.
you also learn how to treat other people.
Mhm.
And that stays with you forever.
yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. One of the articles that I had read and researched a little bit about was the Navigating Parental Resistance, Learning from Responses of LGBTQ and Inclusivity Elementary School Teachers, written by Herman Wilmarth. He talked a lot about how most parents are actually neutral or happy to hear that there is queer education happening, but there will always be a couple objections. And those parents who do object, there has been like written research, like for example, in this article of teachers talking about the confrontations that they had with these parents, and after explaining to them what they were teaching, why they were teaching it, and how this would affect their children, the parents frequently changed how they were reacting and became okay with their children learning this information. One thing that I remember us talking about at one point in time in the classroom was how one way that you could go about approaching a parent who is very resistant or hesitant to let their child, learn this information is create other things to focus on in class in case the parent is like, hey, I don't want you to teach this to my child. You could be like, okay, you have to respect that as a teacher. So you can create other things to be doing in the class at that time, so that way they are still included and making sure that they are still learning, but also information that will not be lost among the other students and among that singular student.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
Well said.
In my
Right.
article that I was reading about, they showed a point that if parents know specifically what you're talking about regarding identity, they feel significantly more comfortable with it. I think it's just the unknown that the parents don't mess with.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I think, like, if the teachers are really, like, clear on what specifically their goal is and what they're talking about, I think it can prevent a lot of parents from being against discussing identity at all
Mhm.
altogether.
Yeah. It's a
For
really
sure.
big thing that teachers want to teach it, and not just because, like, oh, well, I think I have to. No, like, I feel like every teacher should want to teach this, because it's not like you're teaching them anything bad. You're teaching them human decency, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that's why when it comes to teaching elementary school and younger, I think one of the main focuses is focusing on not teaching as specifically queer identities, but simply identity and expression in general.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Every student should, feel the need to be themselves. Like, they should always feel like they can be themselves around teachers, around their
Mhm.
parents, around their
Mhm.
home, around their peers.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Any more things on this subject before we move on?
I was gonna say like on the subject of you saying how like kids couldn't feel like being themselves and stuff like that. Did you guys have personal experiences like that?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Growing up in elementary school as a queer kid, I'm like I feel like all of us were queer at one point, like or we still are. But like, do you get what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, do you guys get what I'm saying though? Like,
Yeah.
I feel like in elementary school, that's when I started to figure it out.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the
Mhm.
same for you guys.
Yeah, no. I also had the same, problem as well. Back then, teachers really didn't help with that. They didn't know much about like LGBTQ and all of this other stuff about identity, so they couldn't really help as much as, you know, I wanted them to. So a lot of kids, you know, not just me, were bullied and picked on for, you know, liking another gender or being what they want to be. Like if guys want to wear like dresses or skirts, they would get made fun of for being less masculine.
Oh, I had like an opposite experience.
Okay, never mind.
What was yours?
Because, okay, my experience was when I was in elementary school, I had this boyfriend at the time, and then it's important because we both, like, got together, and then we broke up, but then we both, like, we were still friends after that, because it's elementary school. Everyone's still friends with everyone. And then I like, was starting to discover, I'm like, oh, I think I might like the same gender. Like, I think I might like girls. And I was just talking to him about this because I'm like, that was still my friend. And he tells me, he's like, oh, I think I might like boys as well. I think I might like the same gender as me. Awesome. And then it's like, and we were like, oh, that's cool. Like, but then when we told our friends, like, nothing happened. I feel like nothing changed between our friends. Like, our friends were all just like, oh yeah, how'd you know? How'd you figure it out? But it's like, like, from what I recall, teachers did not like help out. Like, administration didn't like help out. Like, I feel like I didn't learn about identity till like college.
Damn.
Like, if I'm being honest with you guys, like, I didn't, like, learn about that until college.
No, I feel the same way. Like, I definitely didn't, like, have a lesson about it until I was in college. Like, I don't think this was, like, ever discussed during high school or anything.
Okay, so my school was just...
Oh. No, yeah, your school was just... Okay, back to it. But, like, did you guys have any experiences in elementary school with, like, discovering your identity or, like... you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, so as an unschooler, my experience was definitely different from what most people I know's experience was, because I grew up just like going to park days, and like there was a big group of kids. And one of the things about unschooling is it's like homeschooling for those listening at home who don't know what it is. It's kind of like unschooling, or it's kind of like homeschooling, but rather than doing like homework at home, or you're usually a part of a charter school or a private affidavit. And it's about like self-taught learning. But most unschoolers who I've ran into actually are queer or have mental disabilities. So there's a lot more openness to different identities and expressions in the unschooling community. However, there was plenty of problems that would arise, but less so from actual homophobia or transphobia.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
For me, at least, I definitely went to, like, a public elementary school, and my experience was definitely similar to like Leilani's. I feel like everyone was very accepting, and like it was known that you could be whoever you want to be, but it was also very clear that like the teachers did not teach that at all, and it was like never really discussed. It was just like discussed, like the kids would talk about it kinda, but like the teachers, they just didn't ever like touch on it. But I remember being in elementary school, and like it was very like clear, like the books were like, oh, like you could be whoever you want to be, like you can wear whatever you want to wear type thing. So I feel like it kind of like grew up with us, like as a class, but it was still like never really talked about like sexuality at all. And I feel like that's like a very like appropriate thing to talk about when you're like 4th, 5th grade, and it just never was discussed.
Especially like seeing people out in the open now, like, you know, it's 2025. People, you know, you see people walking around, oh, a girl kissing a girl. You know, kids that grew up not learning about, you know, LGBTQ and, you know, sexuality, they won't understand it. They will think that like that's not normal. It's like it's not normal, you know.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's like what causes like so much like violence in the world. Like sometimes like people get like, some people get like hurt for all that stuff. Like sometimes people will see and they'll just like they get hit or like they get hurt from it, and it's just like because like as kids they didn't get taught that, so they're just like, oh yeah, that's wrong. This is like
it's just not okay.
Yeah,
to, like, be
but
who you are.
but it should be okay.
Yeah, no, exactly. I think that's why it's so important to, as a teacher, bring it up in elementary school to make it like normalized, so that later the kids understand that it's a normal thing to do. Like if you see a girl kissing a girl, there's no reason to be like repulsed by it.
We're all human.
Right.
I think there's also like a big part of, I think it's important to teach that you can express yourself however you want. Like if you were a man in like my old friend groups and you didn't like the color pink, you were weird. Like if you didn't wear, like all of the
Oh
men
my
were wearing
gosh.
pink all the time. Otherwise, like they were hyper masculine and they were a problem. And I think it's important to teach your kids, if you are masculine and if you do fit into the gender norms, that's cool too. But also,
Yeah.
you don't have to do that.
Yeah.
You don't
Yeah.
have to do that at all. Just be who you are.
For your pride.
Please, I'm keeping that in. I don't care. I'm keeping that in.
No, yeah, but yeah, absolutely. So I think just really focusing on whatever makes you happy is chill and good, as long as you're not hurting anyone else. You know?
I feel like it's such a big problem, like politically, when it's like in reality, it just doesn't really affect anything.
It really doesn't.
Like what a kid is wearing does not have any effect on anything that they're learning.
Like if you're
Right.
really walking down the street or walking from classroom to classroom and you see a little boy in a dress and his shoulders are covered because but his shoulders are covered, he's just happening to wear a dress.
Mm-hmm.
Are you gonna like go home and like rant to your spouse about this? Like, is this really affecting you that much? And if it is, I think you need to be learning some
Definitely.
stuff.
That's like a
man.
reflection of the
so-
person.
Yeah,
So saying like people of learning stuff, do you think that like that's an issue with teachers, like not being able to teach that with students? Like
absolutely.
like teachers are not being educated themselves enough to like teach that to the students.
Absolutely. I think that's another like massive part of the problem
Yeah.
is it's less so really about the kids like themselves not having that teaching at home. While that does make a difference, I think as teachers we need to keep learning, and like us for here, like we've talked about all this and done all this research, so like I'm sure we all feel a lot more confident in when it comes to teaching this. But something that's
Yeah.
really important is that we have to keep doing this research and keep reading these articles and keep learning more, because you know this is like very like lighthearted, but like I've heard people joke recently about like, because now you know people are like, what, my son brings home another boy? No, how are we gonna feel in 30 years when our son brings home a robot?
Oh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and, like that's not what we're talking, like that's, you know, it feels like that should be so like far out of it, but we have to consider like that is how some like older generation thought of
Mhm.
queer people back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's important that we do keep learning, because God, let's hope not, but maybe in 30 years it will be okay to
Mhm.
be in a relationship with a robot,
Yeah, exactly.
And we
Stuff's
have to
constantly
keep
changing.
learning.
Yeah.
because stuff is constantly changing, and maybe not that, but things are going to keep changing, things are going to keep shifting, and you know we need to keep that awareness and to properly teach kids how to be inclusive and continue that on is to stay inclusive ourselves and to keep learning what needs to be included.
Yeah, no, for sure. I feel like, and this is kind of jumping topics, but I feel like one of the main effects that I was reading about in the articles is that, like, the suicide rates for LGBTQ students is just so much higher than students that are heterosexual.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like this could improve mental health by so much if we start showing, like, elementary school that they could have their own identity. I feel like it can help students like later in life, like in high school and beyond, like understand that they're just more accepted. I feel like once you start younger, it's more accepting later too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In some of my research, like strategies for LGBTQ plus inclusivity among elementary school aged youths in extension, by Gonzalez M, is he talks about how children actually develop gender recognition as young as 2, and so if you really teach them from a young age, it should, you know, they should register that. And also, as you said, like the part of why suicide rates are so high is because there isn't a recognition of their expression and their identity.
100%. There's just like discrimination, I feel like, is a big thing
Yeah.
towards the LGBT youth, which just causes a lot of problems that I feel like can be avoided if by talking about like gender and identity from a young age. Like you're
Mhm.
saying, like 2 years old, like you could even start reading books.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be
Right.
There's
more
ways-
open about it.
Yeah, just like speaking about it too. I feel like just talking about it makes it less weird.
Yeah, I think also like making less like heteronormative like sanctioned events, like something talked about in equity in music education. Like there's so many, like if you think about like the events that happen in school from high school to younger things, or like when you're even just in the like play yard, recess, whatever you call it. It's like, oh, boys on this side, girls on this side, this, that, like boys have to wear suits and girls have to wear dresses to the formal or whatever, or boys have to ask the girls or whatever. It's like all of this stuff just adds on and makes this a problem.
Yeah. If, like, let's say, like, teachers want to talk about LGBTQ topics and they say, like, oh, well, it's awkward to say. It can't be awkward unless you make it awkward.
Right.
Really.
You can't, like, you cannot make a situation weird if you're, like, you can't make it weird if you don't make it weird. Like, if you're, like, if you just bring it up and you're just, like, trying to talk about it, it cannot be weird, because if you keep talking about it over and over again, eventually it's not going to be, like, weird or, like, awkward in the classroom. Also, like,
kids never take it that way.
No.
Like, they're never going to take it that way unless you make it that way.
Right.
Like,
for sure.
The same people or teachers who are saying, like, oh, it's going to be weird, it's going to be uncomfortable, are the same ones who are giving their, you know, literally, like, baby boy a shirt that says, I'm a ladies' man. It's like, that is a 2-year-old.
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
that's weird.
It's the same people, and it's so normal for them to be normal about, like heterosexual stuff, that they don't, like, they're doing this stuff that's actually weird, but then thinking that it's fine to do, or thinking
Feeding
it's not
into it,
fine
for
to talk
sure.
about other stuff, you know?
Yeah. And I feel like going off of that, there's just a lot of problems in elementary school because, like, there's, like, daddy-daughter dance and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's, like, so, like, you have to have a dad, first of all, and also you have to be, like, dressed up in a dress. So it's, like, feeding into, like, gender stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just feel like that's definitely feeding into the problem.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Where was I going with this?
Girls, gays, they.
Okay, no, it was because it was a way to like include it, or like why like teachers were like they didn't want to do it, like they think the kids were like too young and stuff like that, and like they can't comprehend these things. But it's like okay, but yeah, they say the, I didn't say nothing. I didn't even say anything.
What the fuck?
It's just the kids are they.
What the what?
What the?
Guys,
Okay,
listen,
Okay, sorry.
listen.
Guys, we gotta
Cause-
look in.
Based on my research,
Based on our research.
based on my research,
Based on her research.
Based on her research.
Based on her research.
so a teacher at an elementary school said, "I would, but it's not fair to everyone." I didn't get what that teacher meant, but then I was just over here. I was thinking, it's like,
I would, but it's not fair to everyone.
yeah, what do you like? I don't know, like that just really stuck out to me, just because I'm like, what do you mean it's not fair?
Teaching about queer
Yeah,
identities.
like teaching about queer identity.
Would-
She said it was not fair to everyone, but I don't.
Is she saying because there are non-queer students in her classroom?
Yeah, that's what she was basically getting
Well,
at, and I was just like,
I think that is something that's definitely like said. People being like, oh, well, there's non-queer students in my classroom, and I shouldn't be subjecting them to that. Do you know what health class is?
right? Like,
Do you know? There's a whole class dedicated to talking about heteronormative identities. So, for one, ideally, we should be talking about queer identities in health class, but unfortunately, that doesn't happen. And also,
No.
health class doesn't exist in elementary school. As
no,
far
no,
as I
no.
know. So I think that's really what it's about. That's why when we're talking in elementary school, we're just talking about identities. We're not talking about specifically queer
Yeah. but
identities.
it's
We're just
like,
talking about identity and self-expression, which is not specific to any
No, it's not
individual
specific to
person.
anything.
Every single person in the world has expression. It's called existing, and identity. It's called existing.
Exactly.
So
Like, for example, like we teach kids culture, you know, like
yeah,
like culture day and stuff like that doesn't mean
like
every
multicultural day, like
yeah,
everything.
that doesn't mean every single kid in the class is that specific, you know.
yeah.
We're teaching it to let the children know that
Right.
it exists.
And we're not going to be talking about specifically like bisexual, trans, all of those
No.
identities until high school or middle school.
When it's more like appropriate.
Yeah, when it's more appropriate because we're going to be talking about heteronormative identities as well. So it does make sense to be kind of looping those together, but just simply talking about identity and expression is not unfair to any student. And so I think that's
I
silly.
agree, because like even if a kid is or heterosexual, like they still have an identity, and I feel like they should still be able to develop that identity. And also, even if they're not gay, they could still like accept if someone else is maybe like homosexual. Like I feel like same thing going off what Yen said. Even if a kid like isn't a part of a culture, they still learn about it, you know, and then they are more accepting to that culture. So I feel like it should be the same thing for like sexuality.
Absolutely.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. Like imagine there's some straight white cis man right there in that corner.
I'm like, lit.
Where? No, yeah.
I'm like, yeah.
Not me. Excuse you.
Okay.
But like, he could be Italian. That is an identity. You know, like there's maybe he's a gamer. That's an identity. Maybe he likes to wear drag. Straight cis man can do that.
Right.
Exactly.
That's expression. You don't have to
be who you are for your pride.
Anyways. Okay, guys. Closing notes. Teachers just needs to do a better job.
Yeah, basically our recap.
Basically, the teachers should be educating themselves on how to discuss these topics with their kids and how to like introduce it to them as well without doing it in a way that's non-comprehensible for them.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I agree.
The whole outline of this is just to really like remind the students, remind everybody around you that you have to be kind. You know, it doesn't matter what you are, how you represent, what your identity is. The whole reason that we're talking about this is to prevent bullying and, you know, anxiety for those students who want to be, you know, seen. You know, we don't want the student to come in and feel unseen, unheard, and feel not safe.
Yep. Yeah. Well,
that was our episode, guys.
That's our episode. That's episode 1. We might do more. Maybe.
All right, guys.
Okay.
Thank you so much for watching.
Thank you.
We are
For the Queers.
And
we'll see y'all next time.